Greetings, sisters and brothers. This is Milton Alimadi, publisher of Black Star News, an adjunct professor of African history at John Jay College here in New York City. I send you Pan-African greetings as usual to sisters and brothers all over the world. No, we've all been enjoying the World Cup in the last few weeks. Unfortunately, all the African teams have been eliminated, but there's still a lot of good soccer left. This coming week, France plays Belgium, and England plays Croatia. And we all, I'm sure, look forward to a thrilling final sometime toward the end of next week. But sisters and brothers, today, I'd like to talk about another topic: the ongoing conversation in Uganda over the Yoweri Museveni social media tax. The Ugandan dictator of 32 years knows how to divert national conversation. He is a master propagandist. So he knew everybody would get riled up about the social media tax because everybody uses social media for communication, to criticize the dictator, and to send mobile money. But that's not the conversation we should be having for a number of reasons. Number one, in order to be able to levy any tax at all, the people have to be represented. General Museveni is not legitimate leader of Uganda. So how can he even be talking about imposing any additional tax? He knows that he stole the elections of 2016 and that Dr. Kizza Besigye won those elections. And in fact, Besigye is the duly elected president of Uganda. So on the grounds of legitimacy alone, General Museveni should not be talking anything about social media tax, let alone any form of taxation in Uganda. That is the first ground. The second ground, which is even much more important, what has he been doing with all the taxes that Ugandans have been paying for the last 32 years? Because there's nothing to prove that the money has been used efficiently. With the potholes in the roads, with the missing medicines in hospitals, with the lack of supplies in the schools in Uganda, with doctors being unpaid and going on strike, with this sense of priority. How can you buy a $50 million Gulfstream jet while the hospitals lack medication? And where did you get the money to buy a $50 million Gulfstream jet? Obviously, that was stolen money, embezzled, which brings us to the next topic: corruption. As I speak today, there's a trial going on in federal court here in New York City. A Hong Kong native is being tried, allegedly, for bribing General Museveni and his foreign minister, Sam Kutesa, in order to gain access to lucrative oil concessions in Uganda. That is what the U.S. alleges, that Mr. Patrick Ho provided General Museveni and Sam Kutesa with special gifts, and additionally $500,000 wired to Sam Kutesa's account for a fake charity that he had set up in Uganda. And these were initial payments to pave the way for future business deals, including a joint enterprise business that would be owned by the Chinese, as well as the family of Sam Kutesa and General Museveni. Anybody can Google Museveni and DOJ, which stands for Department of Justice, and you will see a link that will carry you to the press release by the U.S. Department of Justice. And Ugandans are familiar of the $30 million stolen by Sam Kutesa from the United Nations when he improperly got a contract for his company, Entebbe Handling Services. And anybody who wants more background on that can Google Black Star News and Entebbe Handling Services. And the articles we wrote about that will come up. So those are the fundamental questions. We have an illegitimate president who wants to impose an illegitimate tax, which is an unpopular form of tax in the first place. And then we have the evidence that all monies that have been collected in the form of taxation have been misused. And then we have the evidence of corruption. The most recent case, as Ugandans know, were the reports that money sent on behalf of South Sudanese refugees was being stolen by the regime of General Museveni. And why then Uganda in the first place? Because General Museveni invaded South Sudan in December 2013 and escalated the crises in that country. Sisters and brothers, we should not be talking about social media tax. We should be talking about change in Uganda. We want to end dictatorship. We want to see the kind of conversation that we're seeing in Ethiopia with this new Prime Minister, Abiy. National reconciliation. He's bringing all the national parties, the opposition groups, even the armed groups together in a national conversation. And it is very popular in Ethiopia today. And now he's reached out and he's meeting with President Isaias of Eritrea to reconcile so that these two African peoples can come together. Sisters and brothers, this is the kind of conversation we need in Uganda. We must not allow General Museveni to lead the national dialogue. Let him talk about the social media tax. But we Ugandans must insist on having a national conversation about change, peace, reconciliation, democracy, and restoring age limit to Uganda's constitution and term limits to Uganda's constitution. Those are the conversations we need to be having. We must take the initiative. So let's launch this conversation in street corners, in classrooms, in office spaces, in farms, in the rural areas, in the urban areas, and on social media. Let's take back Uganda and restore it to the people of Uganda at the grassroots. Thank you, sisters and brothers. Stay strong, stay well. May the Creator bless you and your family. Thank you.